talking about, I believe, John, is Bill 10, which is before the House right now. It's a Budget Implementation Act, but it has, let's say, an omnibus bill. It has a lot of different parts in it, one of them being a very diabolical hit at pay equity. They're attempting to take pay equity and put it to a place where the Public Service Staff Relations Board would be the vehicle where members would make complaints. That is absolutely unconscionable. The Labour Board is set up to deal with other issues. There's no expertise within the Labour Board to do that. But it's worse than that. The fact of the matter is pay equity is a human right. And what they're doing is by saying to our members that they can't go and complain to the Canadian Human Rights Commission, then they're taking away that right. And that's wrong.
The unions are going to be held jointly responsible with the employer to accomplish pay equity. If somebody were to take a complaint after a collective agreement had been signed, is it conceivable that the Labour Relations Board could find that the union is liable for pay inequity?
Well, you know, number one, if a member wants to take a complaint to the board on the issue of pay equity, this act would say to the union, if you assist that member in the preparation or representation of that case, you are going to be subject to a fine of $50,000. So they're penalizing the union and saying we can't represent our members in that issue. And that, quite frankly, is illegal in my view. It's unconstitutional. We have a responsibility to represent our members. We will represent our members. But this bill, it has to go. We're not saying that the present pay equity legislation and filing to the Canadian Human Rights Commission is the way to go. We would like to see some changes where there's a much speedier remedy for issues that come up under pay equity. So we're willing to sit down at any time with the government or the employer and look at how we can do that. In Quebec, they have brought in pay equity laws that are much better than what we have at present time. You know, ironically, you know, here's the Conservative government stripping away members' right to address their pay equity complaints through the Canadian Human Rights Commission. The first bill that the President of the United States signed into law was the pay equity. And here we are in Canada, just a few short miles away, tearing down pay equity. Now, where are we going?
Well, supposedly this new system of bargaining pay equity is going to put the onus on both the employer and the union to bring about this pay equity. I guess I would ask, though, if this is the case, if a member were to pursue their own grievance without the help of the union, because that's going to be illegal to help your own members, in that case, could the union presumably be found to have been derelict in its duties because it can't, because it wasn't able to achieve full pay equity in the collective bargaining process?
Well, as the leader of the Public Service Alliance of Canada, while they've got the law saying we can't help them, so obviously we don't have the right to represent them. As a trade union leader, I find that fundamentally wrong. Our job as trade union leaders to assist our members at every time that there is a situation where they're being unjustly treated. The issue of pay equity, how do you bargain an issue such as that? In this particular case, you determine that you're in a female-dominated group, and they've upped the threshold on that from 55% to 70%. You've got to have 70% to be considered to be female-dominated. Notwithstanding that, if you recognize that there is a pay inequity and say that the male employee is doing similar work of equal value, or say $5 an hour, or $10,000 a year different, how do you bargain that difference? You can't compromise on it. You've got to say that these members who are getting paid less than what their male counterpart for doing the same work is getting paid, you've got to fix that gap. You can't
bargain classification. And if you can't bargain classification, which we both know is at the root of pay inequity, then how are we going to get at it?
Like I said, in the pay equity complaint, we won the case where the inequity was there and they had to pay out a lot of money to the members who had lost out for many years. But they also said that the how you address this is to address the classification system. You've got to fix the classification system, because just paying the money doesn't make it go away, doesn't solve the problem, because years down the road, if you haven't fixed the classification system, it's going to happen again. We've been at them since 1999 to do what the Canadian Human Rights Commission has told them to do, is fix the classification system.